These are the agents right here. They're doing absolutely nothing. Can't holster her gun right here, as you can see.
The White House got broken into while Obama was in office. The first time in over 100 years that someone broke into the White House. Also, the first time a girl was guarding the front door by herself. What are you trying to say, that women can't do everything men can do? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So that seems sexist, right? People say you're sexist. No, it's not sexist. Here's why it's not sexist. Because men can't even do everything men can do.
Security Guard News is your boy, Jay Gutierrez. Today we're going to talk about the fails of the Secret Service during the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump on Saturday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we need to highlight this. And if you are one of those people that create books, you need to put this in your book. This needs to be part of your textbook, security guard manuals, SOPs, training, whatever, right? If you're executive protection or you work in like large crowded areas, you know, like concerts outside, you gotta study what happened here, and this has to be part of your training, and this has to be part of your conversation. The following video I got from a YouTube channel called The Legion of Men, which has nothing to do with security, but this guy had a pretty good security-like video that he posted, and I'm gonna give you my 2 cents as a security guard instructor.
Well, now everybody's wondering why this is happening. Fingers are being pointed. Why is there security failures? How did the guy had a clean line of sight? Who is he? There's rumors of him being a young 20-something-year-old Antifa, left-wing extremist. Trump defiantly standing up, holding his fist up, yelling, "Fight, fight." Again, from all the things I've been able to gather in the past couple of hours, here's where we're at. So for the first question of how could this happen, here's Democrats calling for political violence.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
On the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
His character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you ready to go. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not done anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honor and our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after election. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels. That this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
So the left pretty much inflaming a potential civil war or...
So look how the government, look how the media, look how they're talking about the presidency. Like, this is not okay. There's this thing in when you're into social media and to the point where you have a YouTube channel where they say you can start selling merch and be successful at it once viewers have watched about 100 hours of your content. Because it's not like regular TV. So once they watch about 100 hours of what you're doing, they feel like you're their friends, you're part of their family, you're part of their inner circle. Because they only see the good parts of you, right? Because this is the parts you upload. So there's a lot of self-brainwashing. So why is it happening with the self-brainwashing is you have media and political parties and celebrities who are idolized talking bad about, you know, a particular individual and committing violence. You hear that for over 100 hours, you're gonna start thinking it's okay. After 1,000 hours of you hearing that trash talk, you might do something about it. You might be that 1 out of 300 million people who might just be dumb enough to do something like this. The president, you cannot call for violence on the president. Love him or hate him, it doesn't matter.
Left pretty much inflaming a potential civil war or further division of America or whatever it is that's shaken out from this tree of hate that they're constantly spewing. Of course, they say it's the far right or right-wing extremists that are fanning the flames of division in America when they're the ones with this kind of rhetoric. Of course, the media has begun spinning all the horrendous headlines as he was being shot and information was barely leaking out. The left-wing media had begun twisting what was happening. So this is the post-millennial on Twitter, and they're saying, the Washington Post here, Trump escorted away after loud noises at Pennsylvania rally. NBC News, Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard at Pennsylvania rally. This looks like CNN Politics. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startled former president. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. MAGA responds with outrage.
Guys, this part of the video, I'm highlighting it because you guys need to understand. There is a clip in a movie with Washington. What's his name again? He did the Book of Eli. The movie's called Training Day. Denzel Washington. There's this clip when he's training the new rookie cop to be a detective, and he's like, I'm reading the news. 75% of it is BS. It's entertaining BS, right? And what he's saying with that is that there's 25% truth in all the news you're getting, right? And sometimes is done intentionally, right? Sometimes out of malice, sometimes out of carelessness. So, like, that's why a lot of people on YouTube say, you gotta take what I say with a grain of salt. You can't take everything I say as concrete, right? Because I might be wrong. This is my point of view as far as me making this video. So, you have to be careful of where you're getting your information. Like, we're at the point as a country, we don't know what the word average means anymore. We think the average means the majority and there's no hope. Like, when people start thinking about you can't buy a house, the average house is $400,000. You need a 30% down payment for that. Who has, you know, $30,000 or a $1,500, whatever it is, right? Who has that? These are the things they're saying, right? But the average means the average, right? And you gotta start thinking about the average doesn't mean the majority, right? And you start thinking about the average where. In the freaking New York, you can't buy a house, but if you're in places like Pennsylvania and Ohio, you could buy a house that's less than $100,000, right? So you gotta think about how they're wording things when you're receiving information, no matter where you're getting it from.
Well, we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here. We had a party. And we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees out there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know. But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not. because the roof, the way that the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't point out who's watching. But
See news, Donald Trump escorted off stage by Secret Service during rally after loud noises ring in crowd. And they're altering these headlines. I'm glad people are taking screenshots. I want you to see just how twisted left-wing media is. So this is CNN. This is what you get for this old headline I'm about to show you the screenshot of. They changed it on me directly. I no longer have access to that old one. Thank God I screenshotted it. It says, video captures shooting at Trump rally. This is what CNN has altered their headline from this. So this was a screenshot someone took, and this was the exact title that they had. Trump speech interrupted by Secret Service. And then someone wrote above it, CNN framed Trump shooting as interruption. They have since altered that and changed it to video capture shooting at Trump rally. And then there is this video that says, who was Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20-year-old shooter accused of assassination? And they have this post here from Republic World. Counting the number of shots fired.
Let's look at that again.
Public World.
You got shot on the third one.
They're counting the number of shots fired.
Saying fight.
My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
So I'm going to blur out his face because I don't know if this is him potentially. It could be, it could not be.
Oh my
but it
God.
says here, this is an Instagram profile people screenshotted. Thomas Matthew Crooks is a guy. He's got the black anti-fascist flag. And I have no doubt that the left-wing media is now in full-on panic and meltdown control, figuring out a way to pin this on some deranged Trump lunatic, some disgruntled far-right activist, somehow, someway blaming the right for this, just like some of the most...
Yo, you got the left calling the right fascists. You got the right calling the left fascists. You got the Democrats independent. You got everybody just pointing the fingers like that meme of Spider-Man, like, you're a fascist. No, you're a fascist. You're all fascists. I'm not a fascist. You're a fascist. It's crazy, man. Like, the POV of everybody is like it's just so far. And that's why they call it the far right, the far left, the far... nobody's grounded. And I think this has to do a lot with people not being okay with having political conversations at the dining room table. So what if you're a Democrat? So what if you're a Republican? We can't be friends. My wife is a Democrat, guys. She's a Democrat. And I still love her. We have a kid, you know, like, it's okay to have Republican, Democrat friends. Like, what is the big deal? It's like, to some point, you have to see it like a sport where, you know, one side is for the Mets, the other side's for the Yankees, and that's okay. You can't take things too personally when it comes to politics. Because look how it is right now.
Recent public shooters have been far-right extremists when actually they were of the rainbow cohort, but you won't hear that on mainstream media, of course. And then we have something that could be construed as malfeasance or pure incompetence. I don't know what you call it, but it says here, the complete incompetence of the ladies of the Secret Service on full display. One of the agents can't properly holster her firearm, while another fiddles around with her sunglasses trying to look cool for the crowd. So let's play this. It's 37 seconds.
All right, this is the part where I want to talk about executive protection and training. When you're in the Secret Service, when you have a firearm and that's your job, it should be an armed security, whatever version of armed security it is. If you're working, you know, the night shift protecting trains, or, you know, you're working in nightclubs, whatever it is, You gotta be so good at using your equipment, you're not fumbling. You're not missing. You're putting it in your holster. You didn't put 100, like training minutes in it. No, you put thousands of hours of you holstering and unholstering your firearm. Just doing this, right? You did thousands of hours of that. It wasn't a weekend course. It's not. You put in that time. That time is gonna decrease the seconds in which you're not reacting to or observing what you need to react to or observe. You gotta put in the reps, you gotta put in the sets, you gotta do the combatives. And this is where you're gonna see the Secret Service failed somewhat.
Yes. These are the agents right here. They're doing absolutely nothing. Can't holster her gun right here, as you can see. Look, she's struck. She can't holster her weapon. This one, complete disarray. Look, she doesn't know what to do. How does he have 3 Secret Service agents that are all women? And people are right.
Here's the other thing. This is the other thing I want to highlight about the failure of protecting President Trump. You have these women who are not like as tall as an NBA player. Trump is like 6'3", 6'5", guys. These women are nowhere taller than him. Did you see the security behind the vehicle? Behind his transportation? He was taller than the vehicle. These women were not taller than the car they were going to drive him out of. How do you have executive protection that's half the size of the president? If you're a celebrity, it's different, guys. Why is that? It's because you don't got, 1 billion people that know who you are. You don't have rival countries coming at you most of the time, right? Because you're not a president, you're just a celebrity. At the lowest self-defense technique or protection technique a Secret Service person has to protect the president is protecting them with their body. Have you ever seen the movie The Bodyguard in the 90s with Whitney Houston, I think it was? That's what the bodyguard does. That's like the last, you don't know where the shots are coming from. You don't know where to shoot. You use yourself as a human shield. You cannot be the human shield of Donald J. Trump if you're half his size. He's 6'5", and you're too short. Back in the 80s, all right, I think somewhere around the mid-90s, they started laxing on this. To be a cop, you had to at least be minimum 5'11", minimum, right, in New York. And when it came to other positions like Secret Service, I think it was 6 feet. To go from 6 feet to, and then you also have to adjust to his height. The average height of the U.S. male is 5'9". A guy like me, no matter, even if I had military training, even if I ever had 20 years of law enforcement, whatever it is, even if I was the best marksman in the world, I should not be protecting the president. He's too tall for me. He's way too tall for these women. And I'm not saying they cannot do security. They cannot do this particular guy. Why? He's too tall.
Nailed it. Saw the fumble with the sidearm. Unforgivable. Rewatch Reagan assassination attempt. The team was on point, and Reagan's limo was gone in seconds. This looks like a JV team. A woman writes, "Don't send a woman to do a man's job. Ponytail Brigade was way out of their depth." It said this is the head of Secret Service. Her previous position was security for Pepsi, Kimberly A. Chattel. She's the 27th director of the U.S. Secret Service, executing the agency's integrated mission of protection and investigations by leading a diverse workforce. And other people are saying get rid of the
protection
hires. My assumption was DEI hires. As a woman, I realized size matters. Then when this one says, what was Biden's Secret Service Director Kimberly Chattel busy with? Her goal of 30% female agents by 2030. This is not satire.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious as I sit in this chair now of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce will be pivotal for the 2024.
And of course, the so-called JV team is the one assigned to Trump to protect him. You know, and the conspiracy theories will run wild with this one, so you come to your own conclusions. This essentially has just handed President Trump the win,
hopefully,
assuming he survives. If there's another assassination attempt, the assassin is dead. There's no questioning him on his motives, of course. And the fiery rhetoric that's been complete, and the dangerous fiery rhetoric from left-wing media will go unquestioned, and we will continue as if tomorrow is just another boring day in the news cycle. This will be talked about. CNN's ratings will explode. MSNBC's ratings will explode. All the execs will love it. The bosses in the C-suites are just churning money.
There's no physical equality, folks. That's why we have the Olympics. Because there's people that can do some shit that you and I can't do. One of those things is guarding the fucking White House. I know I can't guard the White House. You know how I know? Because I met Shaquille O'Neal, and his dick is where my face is.